Okay, so we're going to take a look at chapter 16. We're nearing the end of the book. In 15, Ellie and Maya had been going to the park to play find, to do work, but unfortunately it appears that Ellie cannot smell Wally anymore. So let's find out what's going to happen. So what does it mean that Ellie is decertified? Does it mean you will lose your job? Al asked one night. I'm not a big fan of feet, but I'd allow Al to take off his shoes and rub my tummy with his because they didn't smell as bad as usual. No, but I'll be reassigned. I've been on a desk for the past several weeks, but I'm not really cut out for that. I'll probably request a transfer to go back out on patrol, Maya asked. Without letting Maya see, Al dropped a tiny piece of meat on the carpet in front of me. It was one of the main reasons I liked to lie in front of him at meals, even if it meant I had to put up with his feet. I silently licked up the treat, while Stella gave me a dirty look from the couch. I don't like to think of you being out on patrol, Al told Maya. It is so dangerous. Albert, Maya sighed. What about Ellie? I looked up at my name. More treats? No, Al didn't hand down any more meat. I don't know. She can't work anymore. Her sense of smell is too damaged. So she'll be retired. She'll live with me. Right, Ellie? I wagged. I always liked the way Maya said my name, even if she didn't drop down anything from her plate. I could hear how much she loved me in the simple sound. Let's go to the beach, Al suggested. No, leave the dishes for later. Come on, while it's still light. Let's bring Ellie. Of course, let's bring Ellie. Al had brought a blanket to the beach, and he spread it out on the sand. The sun was going down, and the breeze took on a chill. He wrapped an arm around Maya's shoulders, and they talked while the little waves came in. It's so beautiful, Maya said. I figured they probably wanted to play with a stick or a ball or something, but she had my leash on so that I couldn't go and find them anything. It was too bad. They had nothing to do. Al got my attention by becoming afraid. His heart started to pound so loudly I could hear it, and I could smell the sweat that broke out on his palms and his forehead. I could sense the nervous tension that was tightening all his muscles. I looked around anxiously. What was going to happen? I moved a little closer to Maya, ready to save her if she needed it. Maya, when you moved here, Al stammered, so many months I wanted to talk to you. You are so beautiful. Maya laughed. Oh, Al, I'm not beautiful. Come on. Some boys ran down by the water, tossing a thin plastic saucer through the air. What do you think that might be? Maybe a frisbee? I watched it alertly in case it turned out to be the thing that Al was so nervous about. It didn't look dangerous. It looked like it would be fun to chase, actually. You are the most wonderful woman in the world, Al said. I love you, Maya. Maya was starting to feel afraid, too. I nudged my nose under her hand in case she needed comforting. She always petted me when I did that, but this time she didn't. I love you too, Al. I know I'm not rich. I know I'm not handsome, Al said. Oh, my, Maya breathed. Her heart was beating fast now, too. But I will love you all my life if you will let me. Al turned on the blanket, rising on his knees. Will you marry me, Maya? It wasn't too long after that day that Maya and Mama and all the people we saw so often at Mama's house came together in a big white building and sat quietly to watch me do a new trick Maya had taught me. I walked very slowly down a narrow path between long wooden benches, climbed up on some carpeted stairs, and stood patiently while Al took something out of his little pack that he already tied on my back. Right, guys, hold on. I'm just going to see if I can get the dog stuck. Toby! I'm not going to stop this, so hold on. Okay, let's see. See if he'll stay quiet. So Al took something out of a little pack that he'd already tied on my back. Maya whispered, "Good girl, Ellie." She was wearing a big, fluffy dress, so I knew we weren't going to work afterward or to the park for a run. But I didn't mind because everybody seemed so happy. Mama was even sniffing back tears of joy. I must have done the trick really well, I thought, sitting down to wait, while Maya and Al and another man in a dark suit talked and talked and talked. Then we went to Mama's house, and the children ran around and fed me cake. Soon after that, Maya and Al did something strange. They took everything in Maya's house and stuffed it into big boxes. Then they did the same with all of Al's things. I didn't understand why they needed so many things anyway. I was content with just my dog bed and my food dish. Maybe they decided that was all they needed too. So what do you think's happening right now? What do you think the big white building was and the man in the dark suit? Okay, let's see if we can find out. But it didn't turn out that way. "Come, Ellie," Maya called the day after all the boxes had been carried into a big truck. "Car ride." I still loved car rides, even though we never got to go to work anymore. I bounced into the back seat. But Maya did something I didn't understand at all. She came out of the house carrying 2 big cases, and then she went back in for a third. When she put the cases in the back of the car, I heard angry and frightened meowing coming from inside. Stella, Emmett, and Tinkerbell were in there. Cats did not come on car rides. Car rides were only for dogs. I barked at Maya to let her know she'd made a mistake. "Calm down, Ellie. Cool it, cats," Maya said, getting into the car and shutting the door. "It's a short ride. Don't worry. We'll be there soon." There turned out to be a new house. I approved of the house. It had a much nicer backyard than our old one. And there was a big bed, too, which Maya let Al share with her. That wasn't fair. She had never let me share. So that first night I made a plan. After Maya and Al had been quiet for a while, I crept up to the bed and worked my nose under the quilt. Nobody stirred. My plan was working. Do you remember what a quilt is? A quilt is kind of a blanket that is made special to put over a bed, usually as a comforter or a bedspread. It's usually made in squares and then sewed together. I wiggled up so that my front legs were under the covers too. Then it was just a matter of jumping so that my back legs could make it as well. I jumped. "What's that, Ellie?" Al shouted. "Oh, Ellie." Maya was groaning and laughing at the same time. "Oh, Al, I'm sorry. She never did that before." "Oh, whatever. Let her stay." Al reached down and scratched my ears. "But on top of the quilt, Ellie, not under the blankets." At last, I curled up at Maya's feet, and she tucked her toes under me to keep them warm. But after a few nights, I decided that sleeping on the big bed was not as much fun as it had seemed. There wasn't that much room, and the cats didn't get the message that they belonged on the floor now that I was allowed on the bed with Maya and Al. I jumped down and decided that I'd much rather sleep on the fuzzy rug on Maya's side of the bed. That way I was able to get up and follow her if she woke up in the middle of the night and wanted a glass of water or wanted to read a book in the living room. Maya still took me for car rides. Sometimes we went to the beach to run, and Al came with us now and then, but he had trouble keeping up. Maya and I went to the park for long walks too, but I began to understand that we were not going to do work again. Okay, so we're kind of at the top of page 162. I'm going to stop there because the video is getting long.